This video is proudly sponsored by DigimonCard.io for all your Digimon card, deck building, deck list, card pricing, and discussion needs. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have another top 16 breakdown. However, this one's a little bit different than usual. Normally we just kind of cover the official Bandai events in North America. However, I had Jonathan reach out to me from Phoenix Reborn in Argentina with their top 16 from an event they had this weekend. It was in person, it was unofficial just for the store, but 92 players, 7 rounds with a top 8 cut. And I'm like, sure, I saw the DarkKnight profile and said, yeah, I want to cover this event anyways. But in general, shout outs to Jonathan for reaching out to me for this event. And if you guys have your own events that are around 100ish people that you want me to cover, definitely just reach out to me. Don't be afraid to. I know coverage like this is important to some people, and I want to make sure to provide it. So in general, if you have these any part of the world, as long as I have the deck list and it's around 100 people-ish, I will probably make a video for it, and just don't be afraid to reach out to me. Anyways, going over this event in person that we had 5 Bloomlord, 4 MetalGaruru X, 2 WarGrey X, a security control, which ended up winning the entire event, a blue hybrid, a DarkKnight, a Grandis, and a Gallant as well. So pretty diverse from what we're seeing, and not too different than what we're seeing, I'd say, in North America and other parts of the world. Usually MetalGaruru's X is the popular one, and if you look at this top 4, like 2 of them were in the top 4. We did see a lot of Bloomlord mons, and it's probably a little bit more popular. I don't have the actual breakdowns of how many people ran X deck, but even though Bloomlord made more in the top 16, it didn't, a lot of it was just kind of bubbling out in the top 16 because it was a top 8 cut, so something there. But a little bit more diversity. Again, I do like the DarkKnight mon, Gallant mon also making its appearance too, and yeah, just really interested to go over the deck. So we're going to start off with the first place list with security control. Starting off, we have Lautaro's first place security control list, and we've been seeing the security control here in the States quite a bit, and obviously there's always some room for innovation, or just like your favorite one-ofs or two-ofs in this one. Some particular choices I see for this one. One, there's only 3 rookies in this list, which is pretty small. Normally there's at least 4, and usually it's just 4 of the Salmons, right? But there is one of the Bushy Agamons, which can be, pushed for game, especially if you have enough memory with it. Like a reinforcing memory boost with a TK, normally can get that in case you need it. 4 Digimon and Digimon not too surprising in the Venusmon. The Mastamon is a little bit surprising, though. I'm guessing it's also, especially since you only have 3 targets for its effect. But I'm guessing that you can, the idea is, I can do Mastamon to Bushy Agamon attack for game if I have enough memory too. Sakuyamon, one of, really strong to prevent decks that just build in the raising area. And then also the Ophanimon fall down mode, which again can only get these 3. So I'm really surprised that there's not more rookies or more targets for some of these cards. Death X, of course, we do have the kind of suite of yellow option cards here, 1 Calling from Darkness, and then the 4 of the purple yellows. Then also the Digimon Emperor is a nice pick there. So when one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this tamer to draw 1. And once opponent's turn, when one of your opponent's Digimon level 3 is moved from the breeding area to the battle, you get to gain 2 memory. So being able to kind of stop them from that is really nice from a more rush sense, and really interesting choice there. And then also the Kari. There's no Mimis in this, which is interesting too, because a lot of people run Mimis, but just decided to run the Karis instead. 4 Holy Wave as well. I don't think people usually run 4 of, but those are my insights for it. Really interesting ratios for it, but definitely obviously won the event. So congrats to Lautaro for their finish there. And then next up we do have Nicolás's second place MetalGaruru X. I don't have a lot to say about this deck anymore, besides it probably needs to be adjusted somehow. I'll probably just make its home video, but definitely congrats to Nicolás for this. Whenever I go over these decks that are just clearly the best in the format right now, that's no way taking anything from the people who pilot it, because you still have to be kind of good with it to get to that top 16. So the kind of only contention point for these builds that I ever see now is just if you run a Hammer Spark or not, right? That is almost like the only difference. There's people who swear by Hammer Spark, and people say no, it's bricky, and I have to discard a card for it. Why would I do that when I need to have 8 or more in hand for some of my effects? So that's the only thing that I see as a decision point for these decks anymore. So Nicolás decided no Hammer Sparks, and it got him second place, so that's probably pretty dang good. So congrats to Nicolás for their finish there. And next up we have Brian with their Bloomlord. And again, Bloomlord has been doing pretty good since the release of EX3. The Hydramon is a great boon and add to this deck. And looking at the adds from this deck for Brian. There's not a lot of decision points just because there's only so many kind of vegetation Digimon in the game right now to make it kind of easy. But they did run like a Terriermon, 4 Mushroomons as well. I really do like the 2-cost rookies as vanillas sometimes because there are so many times when you have this weird amount of memories, or like if you want to memory choke your opponent, that with all these 3s that normally a lot of cards cost, it's kind of hard to do so. So these 2s are really, really nice to kind of do that, and I do like adding them to there. Going into just the one Shivamon too. Shiva can be kind of nice in some scenarios, so I do like that add as well. 3 Grandel Soul, a hidden potential discovered, only 1 Santi, 3 memory boost, and also only 1 Mimi. So not very heavy on like the extra cards and the option cards and the Mimis. It's just very, very slim on that side. But I mean, it just means like you're more consistent on your traditional lines. You also just have like the regular Vegemon, which is a carnivorous plant. So I don't think it actually works for the archetype. It's just literally another Digivolve for 1. I could be wrong, but I don't think plant. I think it's just strictly vegetation, right? Plant in one of his traits. Okay, so it's fine. It's fine. I don't know why I didn't think it was. Anyways, congrats to Brian on their finish there. Next up, we have Blue Hybrid, and Blue Hybrid's been kind of like just hanging around for the last little bit. We definitely have been seeing a lot more, I'd say, like Yellow Hybrid in North America as well, but we have seen 1 or 2 Blue Hybrids kind of sneak in. And this is I'd say a dream build of mine because it's also Blue Hybrid with the Leomon package. So just another tamer is the Jerry. You may play 1 Leomon from your hand with paying its memory cost. We got this one here, which is a blocker, and then also if you have a tamer out, of course, and then on deletion, gain 2 memory and draw 1, which is really great too. So just that extra memory you get to do is nice. And then also when an opponent attacks, a Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to draw 1, so you're able to get some recursion there. Otherwise, just kind of generic stuff. Not a lot of rookies either, just the Strabimons and the Modogi Boidamon, and then 3 of the Pokemons that really aren't rookies. Run Tom because we can't run more of it, and then Davis and Sora Joe as well. But very, very clean list still for this deck. I mean, still, if you get just enough memory and you have enough tamers out, you just pretty much win because you can just send them in 1 by 1 and get that win. So congrats to Sebastian for bringing this. I do like Blue Hybrid now because it's not as common, and I can kind of talk about why it's doing well. But this just looks like, I would almost say, like a Leomon aggro version where you just try to make as much damage as you can early with all the kind of cheap attacks you get from it, and I think that's pretty good there. As long as I'm reading how to play this deck wrong, Sebastian, if you're watching this and I'm saying it wrong, please let me know. I'll correct it. Anyways, next up we have our top 8 DarkKnightmon, one of my favorite decks in this format right now. Just the fact that like you have some like really cool plays with the Digi-Crossing and with all these effects. Like the fact like the original line was just bad because it was only these 2 and like it was like a more expensive version of Digi-Cross was pretty bad, but then it did take off with these new, like it took like 3 releases for it, but we got some really nice stuff with it. DarkKnightmon X Antibody is fantastic. You get to return 1 purple or black Digimon card other than itself from your trash to your hand. Then if it has a DarkKnightmon, which it will in this deck, you're able to delete 1 tamer and unsuspend this. And it can be any tamer on the board, so it could be one of your opponents. It can also be the Nene, which also gets you 2 memory on deletion, which is nice. And then also on deletion, you get to play DarkKnightmon from your trash. You can play either one of these. Both of them have on-plays effects, which are great too, so I think that's a good add. Running 1 of the Immortal Ruler, so Immortal Ruler, my goodness. When you have a Nene in play, you may use this card without meeting its color requirements. Also trash 3 from the top of your deck, then you can play 1 DarkKnightmon from your trash for paying its memory cost. If you play a Digimon with this with Digicross, you may Digicross by placing it. So essentially you can for 0 trash 3, and then you can play this for essentially, it's from your trash, right? From your trash, yeah. So it just means like you can recycle 1 of these. As a 1-of, it's cute, it's fine. And then you get to add it to your hand from security too. Ultimate Flare, Iron Fisted. Only 1 Death X. I would almost always run 2, but that's there too. And then for rookies, you do have to be careful about the Chinkurimon from the star deck because it includes you. So if you have 1 of these out, you can't reduce your own Digicross requirements. So yeah, be careful there. But still a great card to run. And then obviously the original Chinkurimon for security. I really like this deck. I'm happy we got a top 8, and congrats to Facundo for doing that. Anyways, next up we have Ezequiel's top 16 Grandis, and Grandis is still in a really good spot. And in the format that we're at, building a big boy, unless like there's some security control list, but not a lot of security can get rid of this. And if you are able to see your lines, you're able to just go all the way into it. I do like the nice ads because this is I would say, very personal list, right? One of the Kakimon, which you don't really need, is just a 2-cost, which is nice. And for the record, it could just be like this card, which is totally fine. I like this card too. We also have like the Pomons. We have one Arbormon and one Metal Coplaterimon as well. Then the regular lines here for this, they have one X antibody, which you can use for the for some of your lines too, because you don't, in case you just want to go into like the level 5 without having to go up to like the level 4 itself, which is kind of nice. And there are some other reasons for the X antibody for some of these lanes, including there's the Grandis. You can go straight into the Grandis if you have Grand Koagumon or X antibodies. Digimon, you can suspend one of yours and unsuspend, so that's why you do that. One Death Xmon as well, because why not? Because it's just always not the worst card in your deck. 2 Grandil Souls, and then a 3-3 split between Green Memboos and Mimi here. So I've been wanting to try to put X Antibody in some of these builds for Grandis, just because there are some benefits from it, and it helps sometimes not seeing your correct lines, but I digress there. Anyways, Ezequiel, congrats on their top 16 finish there. And next up, we do have Gonzalo's top 16 WarGrey X. And WarGrey is probably, like, there's you know, last format where Black WarGreymon was better, and WarGrey X was kind of like the what you wanted to be good, and now it's kind of swapped, right? And being able to be more aggressive, especially since, like, I would say the previously best aggressive OTK decks like X Antibody are not as good. It just means that there's some wiggle room for WarGrey X to be in there, especially since it does have like the protection effects that the Alphamon does have, but just a little bit more specific for it. I'd say like this line is less easy to go up sometimes, but man, it's just as powerful, if not more, once you get all the way up to the top. So WarGreymon from BT1 is always just a good card in red. You almost always are like, do I want to play this card? Because being able to get around security effects are fantastic. And then also the WarGrey X, we do have the Omni X and the regular Omnimon as well. I love this card. I wish I could run more than one in a deck, because I always want to see it, but then if I see more than one, then it's usually just dead in my hand. But I think it's a very good card, especially for ending the game like we've been seeing it. And that's about it for this list. Congrats to Gonzalo for their finish. And to finish it off to today, we do have Brian's Gallantmon. And I really do like Gallantmon, and I've been burned so many times, but I think this is the best Gallantmon has ever been. And that's not saying a lot, but it is saying something. So with the adds of the new kind of red-purple lines from EX3, there's some really cool stuff you could do with this. This Groundmon specifically is great, being able to, when Digivolve and delete one of your opponent's 3K or less, or not trash 2. And then also, it's really just this WarGreymon. This WarGreymon is really what makes it. So when Digivolving gets trash 3, and then if either player is 5 or more in their trash, you can play one Guilmon or Tocado from your hand, or trash without paying its memory cost. Since this deck is so fixated on playing Tocado, it is such an imperative card for helping you find it and playing it for free, especially since, like, to a point where it looks like Brian's only playing 3 of Tocados. They're seeing enough of it that with the trashing and everything else, you're not super duper needing it. And then just deciding to use the X Antibody line. You don't have to do X Antibody for the top end, but it is pretty powerful when you get it. So when Digivolving, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with lowest DP. If no Digimon is deleted, you get to unsuspend this. And then also your turn once per turn. When opponent's Digimon is deleted, if Gallantmon or X Antibodies in this Digimon's evolution cards, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. So you can do something where you have Gallantmon, you swing, and then you use the X Antibody, and then you get back into it. Obviously, Crimson Mode with Tocado also can just end games on the spot, which is really, really nice. And also the Omnimon X Antibody just for even more level 7s, which is pretty crazy in my mind. But that is, and what if it reduces it by 2, because you are running X Antibodies, so that is kind of nice. I think that's all I want to cover for this one. I'm happy to see Gallantmon doing well. I might build this list. I really like Gallantmon, and it sucks. It's just never really had it's really just been tied to how often you see Tocado, and you play him for 3. And he doesn't set your memory, so like he's kind of rough for what he is and to establish. But once you get him, he's really nice. So, anyways, congrats to Brian on their finish there, and that's the video. Again, thank you to Jonathan for reaching out to me from Phoenix Reborn for giving me these lists. Again, if you guys have a larger personal tournament, around 100 people that you want me to cover, I'll definitely consider it. So please reach out to me, and I'll try to do my best. And that will be it for me. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll catch you all next time.